Good morning to all the dear friends who are actually attending this event on Technology Day with the experts across the world. Today we have all the chartered accountants operating and facing the different challenges across the table from a different perspective. Technology Day, what to say more about it? 11th May was considered as a National Technology Day in India. And more importantly, we all come together to celebrate this day with you all people to make you all feel how India is advancing technology in different perspectives. Our Indians who are going to different part of the world or Indians living in India have been doing a fantabulous job. Friends, if I have to go back to the mythology of this country, Vishwakarma is the first person who's been defined as the technology man. And that is where the story of India started. India has given zero to the world. Zero diya mere Bharat ne. Agar aap sabko ye gana pata hai, India has given zero to the world, and from there comes the 01101001 language of technology. Can there be any other nation like India without zero? Could anything move? Is something which we all have to think time and again. The history goes back, not only here, might be 70,000 years back, where the technology, the first tool which was available was the Indian continent, on the Indian continent, which was a stone tool which was being used by people at large. Technology has been evolving. Why this Technology Day has been initiated is just to go take you back with regards to the 1998 Pokhran test, which was being done. The then Prime Minister of India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee sir, has actually announced that we are moving ahead in technology and we are going to be the nuclear power in time to come. That is where the thought of technology was introduced to the nation. Not only that, friends, in 2015, a new slogan which was started by the current Prime Minister of this nation was on Digital India Initiative. Unbelievable. Can you just imagine? At that point in time, the Prime Minister talked about 1,13,000 crores were given as a budget to Digital India. The concept and the pillars on which Digital India was actually introduced was three important parts. The three important pillars are develop digital infrastructure. That was the first pillar on which Prime Minister talked about. The second was delivery of service digitally. That is one important aspect. And the third one, which is unbelievable and there is no precedent. And today in the world, this country is set as an example where we are talking about digital literacy. Just imagine, friends, in a country where there is a combination of intellectuals and also there are people who are hardworking. Education is not sufficient for being a successful person. This country has proved time and again. Just imagine, for information, Umesh bhai, you will also agree, this country, the way the number of digital transactions are happening is unmatchable. We are some way ahead. I think couple of countries have to come together to match the numbers of India in digital transactions. The initiatives which have been taken by the government are unbelievable. And we are proud and we are very honored when we go across the world. We have two speakers today from different parts of the world who are actually going to talk on certain important aspects. But friends, let me just tell you, leading by an example has been a habit now for this nation called India, the nation called Naya Bharat. This is where we are moving towards, and the examples which we are going to set in time to come are going to be unbelievable. We have one more gentleman today who's actually drived the entire digital transformation in the GSTN form. He is also there with us, and we are proud that he also is a chartered accountant and he's given his best. People from industry, people from education, people across the world we all Indians are making that effect, that impact, that noise, where the world is just trying to close the ears and say that everywhere India, India, India has been considered. And that is where we all are together today to celebrate this nation's technology day. Vice Chairman, sir, it is an honor to be with you as a chairman of AI in ICAI, and also I am honored to be the vice chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, which is headed by the immediate past president of this institute, Aniket Sunil Talati ji. But the most important part, the current leadership, who is the president of India in the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, he is the person who actually introduced the slogan and a motivation that AI in ICAI is going to take and move in a total different direction. And we are going to take certain examples when we are going to discuss in time to come. The vice president of the institute, he's actually the chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board for the last 2 years. And he also ensured that digitization goes in each and every office of this nation of the chartered accountants. Friends, most important point before we go for the discussion is, just you can imagine, I think all the speakers can actually feel the satisfaction which I have to actually start this program with so much of motivation, because मैं हिंदुस्तानी हूँ, वही मेरा proudness है, and we are chartered accountants. That is another proud feeling which we all have, that we have been moving. I think Nawal Bhai he'll agree to this fact. One statement which I'm going to read it out, and he is one person who's walking the way, which I was expecting. Technology is an application of conceptual knowledge for achieving practical goals, specifically in reproducible manner. Means this is a complete statement which is a meaning called technology, and a complete back-to-back sticking can actually happen with the world called chartered accountant. We all have been trying to do our best in the entire journey, and whether it is hands written book of accounts, or we are talking about a technology package which is ERP, wherever it is, I think Indian chartered accountants are making an impact, not only on the side of doing accounting as such, but business planning, business advisory, and business acumen with which we all people are moving forward is unmatchable. You all will be very happy when I'll request the speakers to give their short introduction, and for you, the bouquet of these flowers of chartered accountancy have come together to share their thoughts, what they have gone through in last 8 to 10 years, particularly on adoption of technology. That we'll listen from them specifically. But before that, thank you all for joining and being there with us to ensure that we move forward very effectively in this entire discussion. Before we go to the speakers and panelists, let me request the Vice Chairman of AI in ICAI, Umesh Sharma ji, to come and give a quick note on his thoughts, because he's made a beautiful video today morning. He sent it, and it was unmatchable, and it was super fantastic. So Umesh, it's for you to give your words of wisdom, and you are the current chairman of digital transformation of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I know that you have been putting a best effort to make digital transformation at the institute very effective. Now over to you for taking your words.
Thank you, Dayanivas sir, chairman of AI in ICAI committee, and I will tell you all friends that he is the one of the techno CA who is associated with ICAI in council from so many years, and he is an encyclopedia of technological events that are happening in ICAI. And I am the vice chairman of AI in ICAI committee, and I am very fortunate today that I am in front of you on the National Technology Day. Yes, it's a day which is celebrated across India. Friends, being a chartered accountant, when we watch the technological journey of our India, So what was the role of a CA and what will be the role of a CA in future? That is the biggest question we have to answer today. And one of the important discussion when we had with the Microsoft CFO CA Rekha Tulri ma'am, and she told that this is the time of India, because whenever AI and the new technologies are now coming, they are just 1 year old. Now this is the time that Indian chartered accountants can get up with the technological skill sets and make a mark in the world. And this is the objective of ICAI, because this is the new area where we CAs can grow up in a fast manner. We are adopting AI, we are adopting technology in day-to-day practice. Hackathons are being organized. Now certification courses are going to be there. Then in syllabus also we have updated our technological skill sets. So lot of activities are coming. AI tools are under process. They will be launched soon. 16th of July will be celebrated as a AI day under the leadership of Dayanivas sir. And our president Ranjit Agrawal sir has a dream, and he has created AI in ICAI committee, first time in ICAI, and in the world we or in India, we are the first to bring out the RFP on AI tools. So our institute is working in a fast manner. Our members are adopting technology through hackathons all over India. And yes, this is the time where a CA now needs to get up with the technological gears and get through the journey and reach to the pinnacle in his life. So welcome you all on this National Technology Day, and I will request our chairman Dayanivas sir to maneuver through these techno giant CAs who are here, and I am impressed and I am keeping my finger crossed, because this will be the landmark session for all the chartered accountants in India to watch every time. Whenever there is a name of a technology and CS, this session should be on the top. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. And most importantly, when I talked about, you have rightly touched upon a lot of things which we have been discussing. But friends, let me just tell you one thing. I quoted one point, which is Digital India Initiative, which is one of the proud movement for the nation and the citizens of this country, which is actually ensured that we are called successful Indians in a true sense. Thanks to the, I'm not in favor of any parties and all, but let me just put it very clearly. Thanks to the vision of the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister, who is actually transformed, importantly Finance Minister, because she is the person who's actually done fantabulous with regards to this transformation times when the laws, regulations impact. The fact was governance, technology, and transparency. These three things she has been talking about on a continuous basis. That is something one is impeccable about her. And the way she is ensured the GSTN reforms actually come is not matchable anywhere in the world. Just to tell you, friends, I don't know how many of you on panelists here, Digital India, there is a slogan which was, attached to it. Renil, do you know the slogan which was there with Digital India? Power to empower. This was the tagline which was used for Digital India Initiative. And that is where we are today able to come together and see where this power to empower, all the way they have empowered, whether it is a small Bandi person who is on a small shop or wherever you go, Google Pay, GPay, this pay, that pay, everything has been moving. That is how the empowerment has actually happened. So it is interesting, and we are happy that, the President and Vice President also consented that, we have to move towards the technology part. So let me just request everyone who are there, the panelists who are here, one after another, to kindly give their brief introduction, as brief as possible. So, but the most important point is not brief means it has to be specific of what will make each one of us feel proud about you. That is the most important point, because we have handpicked all you people because of the success what you have achieved over a period of time. So first, let me ask Naval Bajaj to kindly give his quick introduction, and then we'll go to the others. Over to you, Navalji.
Thank you, Dayanji, and honorable members on the panel, Vice Chairperson Umesh Sharma ji, and all of the audience here listening to me today. It was a very pleasurable introduction given by both of you, and definitely when you link it to the pride of Indian, it makes it more merrier. Remembering Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, who had actually started the National Technology Day, which we are celebrating today. I think a visionary leader like him would have actually anticipated that, how technology is going to go forward and impact all of our lives going forward. Talking about introduction, I think I am a chartered accountant just like all of us here. And I happen to be in the role of being the CFO of Yokogawa India Limited. It's an industrial automation company which helps the manufacturing sector, especially the process industry, to automate their industrial operations, the manufacturing plants, mostly focusing on the oil and gas industry, the refineries, the fertilizer industry, chemical industries, pharmaceutical industries, water management projects and all that. Largely, we are an engineering company spanning over 60 countries of the world and listed in Tokyo. I happen to oversee the South Asia region from a finance and accounts perspective. Talking about the technology side, because we are an industrial automation company, one of the key trends that we have seen that is happening around is there is a convergence that is happening between operational technology and information technology. Information technology, as we all understand, is what we do on computers, what the TCS and the Infosys and the other giants of the world are doing, as compared to the operation technology, which is about automation of the physical manufacturing operations, which are located plant-specific, refinery-specific and all that, using the decision control systems, transmitters, flow meters, SCADA systems, safe systems and all that. So now what is happening is, because data crunching and analysis of the data and prediction of the data is so important, these all are merging, and that is why Yokogawa has, trademarked this term called IA to IA, Industrial Automation to Industrial Autonomy, because now the IT companies are getting into OT space and OT companies are getting into the IT space. So that is the brief introduction. I think it would be fun having discussion with all of the esteemed panelists here, and looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Naval, and indeed a pleasure that the technology country which is ahead among all the other nations, Japan, you have got them to India. Proud of you. Proud of you. And next person comes in is Praveen Dokania. What to say about this man? I think hats off. I don't know what kind of pressure he's continuing, or whether technology has lessened his pressure when he is heading the entire GSTN. And let me tell you, friends, the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, I think are proud about one particular fact, which is the tax collections, which is happening transparently, seamlessly at the national level, which is clocked to close to 2 lakh crores per month. There is a man behind it who's actually sat on the transformation and also ensured that the compliance by understanding law is being fulfilled effectively. And that is no other person than Chartered Accountant Praveen Dokania. Over to you, Praveenji.
Thank you, Daya, and thank you, Umesh Bhai, and my co-panelist and the audience from all over the world. And indeed, it's a great pleasure that on a technology day we'll be speaking about our journey, our experience with the technology. And hats off and kudos to ICAI and the President Ranjit and the other team member that they have taken initiative to make this technology initiative. So indeed, it's a great thing. And everybody says that who know better technology than any other chartered accountant. So that's a great thing. And let me introduce myself. I'm Chartered Accountant Praveen Dokania, and I'm a CFO of GSTN, Goods and Service Tax Network. The initial days, villain kind of a things. Initially, when GSTN has come, everybody has an apprehension how it will be done and other things. And there was an initial hiccup. Whenever you do some new initiative and new changes, people are resistant to take the changes. And when you feel better, you will adopt to it. So it's a kind of a that. So in GSTN, it's the biggest business transformation, not only the tax transformation, I can say that it's the biggest business transformation that India has ever seen. It's not only the compliances burden, it will not only ease the compliances and it makes the business boundaryless. Like wherever in India, wherever you can sit and you can do the pan-India basis business without any taking challenges and all. So that kind of a things GSTN as a tech platform is supporting the business ecosystem altogether. On a real-time basis, you will get to know that how your business is performing, where is your trucks are. So the truck efficiency has increased manifold. There was one report of World Bank that by introduction of e-way bill and e-invoices, in fact, India's oil dependency on the global countries has drastically come down because the waiting time has reduced dramatically. Earlier, there was a check post in all the toll naka. Now, with the help of e-way bill, every trucks are moving smoothly. So that indeed saved the oil for India and climate. It's a help in the climate sustainability as well. So not only the tax reform, business reform, we are helping in the climate sustainability reform as well. So that kind of a thing GSTN is doing. So that's my introduction.
I was just expecting that financial reforms have come, but you are on the ESG reforms also, Praveen.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And actually, I've been delivering multiple lectures, but this is the first time actually related to the technology reform, which is actually getting in the ESG reforms as well. Thank you very much. Then next comes is the dearest friend of mine who studied on the same bench in Chennai together. And I'm really proud that a person like him has reached a new destination. Ranil Roff. Ranil, over to you now.
Thanks, Zaya. Thank you to you and Vice Chairman Umeshji for coordinating this session today. Also, many congratulations and kudos to the senior leadership of the CA Institute, the President and the Vice President and other Central Council members who have taken upon themselves to transform what we saw many years ago as a legacy institute into something that is very forward-looking and very much into changing the people who are engaged with the profession. I'm Renal Rof. Part of the reasons I'm proud is that Daya and I went to the same classes and now are sitting across the same August gathering, discussing the next phase of technology and changes. We had big plans for ourselves and together. The together plans have not worked, but I think the plans that we made and talked about have really come to fruition. And my friend has achieved so much more than what we had thought could be possible. I'm based out of Abu Dhabi. We call it the capital of capital. I've been here for years now. I work as CFO of a company called Bayanath. We are into artificial intelligence on the geospatial side. So we do space, both upstream and downstream satellites. We do autonomous mobility across the country. We also have mapping and surveying services across the board and also provide HAPS, which is high altitude pseudo satellites. All this technology is powered through artificial intelligence. We are listed on ADX. It was also the most successful trading debut in the world of 2022, according to Bloomberg. We are owned by Group 42, G42 as it is known today. It's an AI conglomerate that is into multiple fields, including healthcare and investments into multiple spheres of competence on the AI front. I was almost a founding team. I joined the company soon after it was set up. I'm overwhelmed at this point to see the development that our country is making in terms of India's advancement into the fields of not just economy and financial prowess, but also technological advancements and soft power. The relationship between UAE and India is also a testament to how we are progressing together as a nation. It is a privilege to be here, and thank you again for having me here.
Thank you very much, Sunil. And undoubtedly, I think the relationship between the UAE government and the Indian government is coming together very effectively. And this is actually making surprises in the world that, these two nations are effectively working together. And I think your contribution also for the profession is going to add value. So from west to the further west, I have one more gentleman who's come from different part of the world. Manish, though I never had an interaction with him, but his social media presence and his profile actually impressed me to reach out to him to ask him or request him to come and today share his thoughts, what he's been looking at technology all about. So Manish, over to you now.
Well, thank you, Daya, for the opportunity, and thank you, Umesh, for the opportunity as well. A very good morning to my fellow members. Congratulations to the Institute and members for this National Technology Day. My name is Manish Pundecha. I am now based in Houston, Texas. I am the head of transformation finance for HP Inc. So for those of you who don't know about HP, if you walk into a Chroma or if you go to Amazon.com and ever search for laptops or printers, the brand that comes up at the top is HP. He will pack in long. I can tell you, speaking about AI, it's definitely changing the world as we speak. It's going to change the world 5 years from now. But one thing that makes me really proud is that I've been here in US for the last 10 years. And when you look at the finance professionals, when you look at technology professionals, when you look at accounting professionals, there are so many from India that makes me so much proud about what Indians at large have achieved, not only in the field of accounting and finance technology as well. And you see a lot of chartered accountants from India coming over at that high positions who have now become techno-functional as well. So that definitely makes me more proud. And again, thanks for the opportunity. I look forward to sharing my thoughts with the panel here.
Thank you very much, Manish. And indeed, we also would like to understand the laptops are actually coming out with the AI chip. This is something which is going to be actually transforming. And fortunately, I purchased one, which is the Apple one. I'm sorry for that. But the point was the battery was important for me. So this is how things are. But we'll come back to you on this. Last but not the least for today's discussion is Saurabh Maheshwari, who's happened to be associated with the Institute, a technocrat, not a chartered accountant if I'm not wrong, but actually training chartered accountants over a period of time. Last 10 years, he's been a faculty with Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, a man with a lot of information and who is the bridge between the technology and the chartered accountants. I'll put it this way. Over to you, Saurabh, to give you a quick introduction.
Thank you, Daya sir. Thank you, ICAI. Not being a CA, but I think I have a bigger network in chartered accountant community. And as Daya sir has said, it was a privilege that I have trained almost 12,000 chartered accountant in the last 14 years of my engagement with them. And that's a big achievement for me. So I am Dr. Saurabh. I've been a postgraduate from the premium engineering institution of the country and then done my master PA from US. The entire journey of mine was completely involved into education domains. So I have authored a couple of books for AI, robotics and all, which are a part of curriculum with CBSE and ICSE as well. I am partner with Apple and Microsoft for setting up Center of Excellence. As I've told you, I am acting as a bridge, which Daya said has also said. So I am crafting curriculums and making sure that the emerging technologies, which are booming everywhere, must be known to the next generation of the students. So I'm partner with Apple and Microsoft for setting up Center of Excellence with multiple universities. To be mentioned, around universities, I am on board as a member of Board of Studies. And I'm creating those curriculum which are bridging the gap between fin and tech, that is fintech. between pharma and tech, that is farm tech, education and tech, that is ed tech. So it's always tech-based platforms and all. At the same time, I was also got a privilege to work with Niti Aayog as a startup mentor. So under my belt, I have around 7 patents filed by the students of mine who have been mentored. So that's something which I want to continue this particular journey of bridging that particular gap between technology and the different domains of the industry, and want to act as a digital transformation consultant, which I am working for some MSMEs as well. So just looking forward for this particular session, and interacting with all the panelists is going to be a lifelong experience for me as well, because at the end, everybody has their own cup of tea and they are master in their own domain. Over to you there, sir.
Thank you very much, Saurabh. And indeed, I think, friends, you now got to know who are the people today for our discussion. Very uniquely, I think we have thought about, getting these all people from different parts to ensure that you get the right bit of it. And take it from me, when you listen to the speakers today, panelists who are there, with the specific questions which we are going to ask them, you will actually feel that, technology is not far or we need to be worried about. We actually are sitting in the center of technology even today. Even today, you have actually adopted technology to a last level. There is, whenever a new tool is coming, I think you have adopted it. RPAs, cloud computing, when you talk about technology audits, when you talk about forensic, when you talk about accounting, when you talk about tax return filing, when you talk about basics of paying electricity bill of a home, when you talk about, again, those 3 pillars, and the last pillar being the digital literacy, I think we all have adopted to a greatest extent. The maximum number of mobile phones are sold in India at this point in time. The maximum number of transactions which are happening online are also happening in India. So these gentlemen who have come, though actually they have a high profiling approach, but let me tell you one thing, friends, these people have started everything from scratch in many cases. With this, I'll hand over the question answer session to Mr. Umesh, who is a vice chairman and a man who is actually thinking differently in the technology at ICAI. But just before going, Umesh bhai, I'm sorry, 1 minute. There are 2 good people who are associated at this point in time on the screen with us. I'll request them, if possible, to come on screen. One is Vishnu Garg, who is the one-man army of the AI in ICAI. And we are really proud that people like him are part of the institute ecosystem, which is giving us all what you are actually listening to, this entire session, the way that has been handled. Thanks to Vishnu. Vishnu, thank you very much for making it possible and ensuring that in the shortest time we reach the newer destination in AI. You didn't, allow us to think even for a bit that, you are running alone. And the better part is you don't have second person to see behind. You only have to run, and run. So continue running. Thank you very much. And the other person is Nidhi. She is now the Secretary of AI in ICAI. And we have Nidhi Agarwal with us, who's been taken as a new secretary to Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. She was actually associated with Board of Studies for quite a long time. And her stint now to come in to learn and ensure that there is no stoppage in the process. She is putting her best efforts to ensure that, the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, which primarily takes sessions on or might be certifications or diploma courses of Information System Audit, DISA. She is the secretary to that. Number 2 is Forensic Accounting, which is again a very important part of it. The entire certification of forensic accounting, which is now shortly going to be converted into a diploma course, which we are working on. She is a secretary to it. Now, before we go to Q&A, I think VP sir has joined.
Yes.
So let us see. We just wait for a moment if VP is available.
Yes, he is there.
Sir, I suggest Daya bhai that I could join after the QA session if it is possible.
Sure. Please. Over to you, Umesh bhai.
Yes, thank you. And all the participants, now it's a fire chat on the subject. So let's welcome our first question to Naval ji, because AI is new and the name है आपका नाम ही नवल है, तो नई चीज है. So sir, what are the advantages and risks of implementing AI in the manufacturing sector in which you are, so our participant gets an insight as a CA when they go for an audit, and if they want to implement in future, so what things need to be taken care of, advantages and risks. Quickly, sir.
Sure. So thank you for asking this question, because this is a very relevant question. I would say that in some ways the key risks of artificial intelligence are mirrored from its benefits itself. Because wherever we have the benefit, we have the application. That application can be on a positive side and it can be on a negative side, right? So for example, we all know that exploitative capitalization of consumer data is already happening. Now the moment it is automated and with intelligent tools, the leverage of using that data or misusing that data can go to any extent. That's number one. Secondly, there are hordes of bots that can make sales calls, send fraudulent emails, troll the social media channels, which is already happening. We are all seeing it. We are already seeing in the news about deepfakes. We have the allegations of elections rigging by scandalous image or video data of real life important persons around us. We are all seeing it. From an industry point of view, AI in the hands of cyber criminals can massively expand the number of cyber attacks, while also outfitting them with new capabilities and intelligence. So given all of this, while AI is going to create new jobs, it's also going to automate anything and everything that can be automated. Okay, so these are all, I think, challenges or risks of technology per se. When we try to translate into how it impacts our lives, the examples that I gave, they are all directly impacting our lives, directly or indirectly, through some means or the other. Coming back to the accounting profession, this evolution will directly impact an organization. For example, if there is a cyber attack on my organization, it is going to impact my organization. Or if it is going to impact one of the systems in the industry which my organization has deployed, and there are contractual arrangements around limitation of liability, there are contractual arrangements about how much liability I have to bear if the system fails, or there is a downtime. All that is going to impact me. From an accounting point of view, we will need to, from a finance point of view, we will need to see how we are limiting our risks here. Before we are able to do that, we have to understand what is this technology all about, how it is going to impact the operations, how it is going to impact the business models, and then we will have to translate it back into what it means from the finance side. And then once the finance side is clear, then the auditing kicks into the picture. That's my high level take on this, because it's a fire chat. Umesh, one last point, because we have GSTN friend here. Now there is a different kind of a risk for the companies. Government is having more data than the companies, right? They are able to actually mix and match GST, income tax, RP, all data together, and they know more than what an individual company knows what they have filed. Different department would have filed different information, and you get the notice. So this is another kind of risk, and if companies do not come up with some solution, they are going to get into trouble. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Yeah, and sir, one added question, that when you implemented AI in your process industries, how was your experience?
Okay, so when we say process industry is they are on our customer side. We help the customers in the process industry like oil and gas and refineries, chemical industry, thermal power plants, etc., in automating their operations. Now we are all talking about Industry 4.0 and Industrial Internet of Things and AI. They are all very core element of Industry 4.0. So, what is happening in Industry 4.0? Industry 4.0, the human element, the digital element, and the physical spheres of industrial organizations, they are all getting combined in an intelligent way, in an integrated way. So, just to make it simple, each customer used to have, limited locations, limited data specific to a particular plant or a particular location at earlier. Now everything is integrated and tailored to the customer with cutting edge AI technologies and domain expertise. So how it helps is the unplanned downtime is the most important objective. Reducing unplanned downtime is the most important objective for our company when we automate any process for any of the process industries. Now, when we have real-time monitoring and analytic and preventive functions with AI programs, that can actually bring down this unplanned downtime by a significant portion. Even a 0.5% of reduction will mean huge amount of saving of money for our customers, because
Correct.
it reduces cost and it reduces the wastage.
Correct.
And how it helps is that earlier human operators and isolated physical systems were actually trying to identify where the problem is. Now the same thing is being done in a very systematic way using these AI systems. So that has actually gone ahead and improved the efficiency part, improved the effectiveness part. At the same time, it is now prone to cyber attacks, and therefore you need to be very, very vigilant about updation in the version. Earlier, once you have one simple software like Microsoft Office, say 2010 implemented, but you can't now afford to continue with the previous versions of the softwares because they are prone to cyber attacks. They don't have the update. They don't have the security. So that is what is happening.
Yeah. So thank you, Nawalji. And now we are quickly moving toward the talk of the town, the GST person, Praveen Dokania ji. Praveen sir. Yeah. So Praveen sir, you implemented a technology framework in GST, that is the GSTN network. So when you integrated the technology, can you share how you integrated GST framework for the compliance purpose and also for the ease of doing and business processes across India? So please share your view on it. Technology integration in GST.
Umesh bhai, indeed, it's a very pertinent question, and let me share my experience and then how I moved into. So I joined GSTN in 2017 when the GST was to come. So I didn't know much about the company and all. So I just joined the company and I thought, let's do something new or something great. So when I joined the company, it was the technology company, and then I thought what I have to do. But later on, I figured it out. It's more about the benefit and empowering the chartered accountant and business community. And then I thought there is a lot to be contributed and there are a lot to be done. So that's a thing. And we all recall and understand the earlier days when there are around 23 tax laws, VAT laws, excise, and then service tax and all clubbed together, and all the chartered accountant and the CFOs and the finance professional, most of the time they are struggling with the compliances part. 80% of their time is devoted into आज ये रिटर्न भरना है, आज छत्तीसगढ़ का रिटर्न भरना है, आज महाराष्ट्र का भरना है, आज हरियाणा का भरना है. Everybody has a different date. तो कभी सर्विस टैक्स का भरना है and all these things. And over of that, there is no visibility how your business is doing on a consolidated basis. And in fact, in the government as well, there is no visibility that how much is the collection has come, so that they can plan the capital expenditure infrastructure building. They can plan the nation progression, how the cash flow will come, wherever the fund is required in education sector, in building the national asset and other things. So those kind of challenges are there. So I think with the help of GST and GST network, when you consolidated everything in a single platform, your compliances burden has very ease. And from the government perspective, let me share with you that every compliance is what the compliances cost for the government, not from the taxpayer. Taxpayer, the compliances cost is zero, because whatever they are paying the chartered accountant for there is, but from the filing perspective, the compliances cost is zero. And from the government side, for the collection, the 2 lakh rupees of a collection every month, the cost is very minimal. If I can say the number, it's a maybe 0.0001% of the total collection, not even that. So those kind of a things that surplus economy is getting builded. And the second aspect is that formal economy is being created. Now everybody is asking for the tax invoices. You have e-way bill, e-invoices, where you know that business to business transaction is happening. So those kind of steps is moving towards the formal economy. And whenever we go for the formal economy, the wealth creation is happening in the very structured manner. Then with a unstructured manner where the single pocket has a plenty of wealth. So that's a social angle of it. And regarding the business parameter, now we have a boundaryless business. Earlier, one businessman, if he's sitting in one place, he has to, for getting his business operated in a different places, so many places, he has to have a very much of a struggle. He has to go there, do the things and all. Now he can do the doing business in particular one places. So it will help into the growth aspects of the economy that one can do that. And we have seen that particularly a lot of D2C company has come, a lot of e-commerce companies has come who are doing fantastic business. So again, it's a effect of GST. And regarding the ease of doing business, earlier, like I was a part of one committee by Ministry of Finance on the ease of doing business indexation that World Bank used to do every year. Now for quite a long time they are not doing. So earlier India's rank was it's around 200 or 159, I remember. So with the help of that GST, where the total compliances burden has eased, you don't have to file so many that paper things and all. So that has India's improvement in ease of doing ranking has improved fantastically. So we are under 30, 40. But that's one thing. And second part, that implementation that India has done on GST aspects, because you know that India has such a vast country where every state is you can treat as a separate country altogether.
Correct.
So language, 23 languages, so many business processes, so many other barrier, the custom is different aspects. Somebody is doing business in a different manner, somebody is doing in a different manner. So getting all together in a single platform, the nature of a business is a very different in a different aspects, and the nuances of the business is very different than the other countries in India. So plugging and all the loopholes, taking all this in a single platform is a tremendous, huge task. I think even the government and the people in the bureaucracy, they are not able to, believe that we can do that in such a short span of a time. And with a huge population, India has today we are like 140 crore people. So getting people all together, so it's a huge task with a multilingual, because what I said, it's a separate state, state is a separate country. And we have seen the example, few of the countries who has implemented the GST in earlier period, they have rolled back Malaysia and other countries because they could not find it. And whoever has implemented successfully, they took time. But the least time India has taken 1 or 2 years to moving that big elephant, and now it's a running. So those kind of a phenomenal, it's unbelievable.
Correct.
That.
Correct.
And I'm proud of it that I'm a part of that journey.
Yeah. So thank you, Praveen sir. And let me assure you all the participants and our today's speaker, GSTN is the most important database of any tax department in the world. They are having huge database. And when we were in Copenhagen, Denmark, International VAT Association, and when we represented that we are from ICAI, India, and we are in GST, they immediately said, how you people are running the GSTN network, that is amazing, because in Europe we have so many countries and you have the states as such a country. That has been pointed out by Praveen sir, and hats off to you sir. We whole world is proud about GSTN network, and we are proud about you, Praveen ji. Thank you for sharing the information and the insights in GSTN network. And friends, now we have our vice chairman Charanjot Singh Nandaji. So, Daya sir, over to you before handing over to Vice President sir.
Yes, Umeji, I think the Vice Chairman excitement after seeing the Vice President is he himself actually called him as a Vice Chairman. So, which I would like to just quickly rectify, but doesn't matter because this man who is always down to earth, who's always been seeing everything from a single eye, and a man who's always loved his parents. I can only tell you, friends, a touching part about him, and which I always admire, is he takes care of the parents in such manner, which I think an example in itself. Though it is a national platform where more than 4,500 impressions have already come, just for your information, friends who are the panelists, but doesn't stop me. Technology cannot take the sentiments out of a human. So that is very important. Artificial, let it be artificial, but the actual is a man who has actually lived a normal life all throughout. And I take that statement from Umeshji's description as a vice chairman. So, Vice President, sir, it has never bothered you about the designations or positions in life. We know that fact. And there's nothing to say sorry about. But the fact is, we are proud that you are heading and you are being part of the institute, national body, and you are representing across the globe the way we are looking at. And technology has been close to your heart always. And let me share with you, friends, let us listen from the man of hearts. Dil walon ke Delhi se, hamare Nanda ji. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Daya Bhai, for a very wonderful introduction. In fact, I would like to state here that Daya Bhai also enjoys and religiously follows the love of his parents. In all my vice president addresses, I've been speaking that economically we are well off. We have to become well off in terms of values and emotional quotients. So, ladies and gentlemen, I request that all of us have to follow the highest levels of respect for our parents, our spouses, our children. See Umesh Sharma, smiling, young, evergreen. The very esteemed speakers of the day, my younger brother Naval Sharma, Manish ji, Saurabh ji, Renaf ji, Parveen ji, and all participants have joined here in large number. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very excited today. Excited for the reason that technology, National Technology Day, has its own relevance. There is a saying, technology is not just an enabler, it's a game changer for the CA profession. Embracing technology isn't an option. It is necessary for staying relevant and competitive in today's digital world. My dear friends, I had the honor of being the chairman of this Digital Accounting and Insurance Board for past 2 years. God was kind that I could be elevated as the vice president of the institute. But my heart goes with that. My heart goes with technology. And as Umesh Bhai was saying, internationally people love us. People respect us. I am reminded when last year I went in June for an ACFE conference. Third day, somebody simply mentioned that he is chairman DAB from India. First time I could see people gharao me. They gharawed me and took at least 3 to 4 hours of mine, asking what is forensic, what are forensic standards, how do you conduct interviews, how do you go for prosecution, how conviction is made, what are the evidences, how you test the evidences. They had so many questions that ultimately I had to excuse. I had to tell them, gentlemen, it's too late in night now. Let us meet the next day. So, ladies and gentlemen, technology has brought us at the top of the world. I don't say so because I'm an Indian. I say so because of the respect which people give. There is this उर्दू में एक बड़ा अच्छा शेर है कि देते ना थे जो जवाब उनके सलाम आने लगे, देते ना थे जो जवाब उनके सलाम आने लगे, वक्त बदला तो मेरे नीम के पेड़ पर आम आने लगे. Ladies and gentlemen, our stance on technology has changed and the entire world now acclaims us as a leader in technology. May you speak about artificial intelligence, machine learning. We have so many people who are masters in blockchain technology, robotic process automation, data analytics, and predictive analysis. These are areas where we have been excelling over the years and creating benchmarks internationally. Now people look upon us for our guidance on subjects like this. Going ahead, you go to decision making for clients, fraud investigations, quantum compounding, cybersecurity. Going ahead, cloud compounding, augmented reality and virtual reality, where we are the world leaders, Internet of Things, ethical considerations, and more importantly, bringing on table the compliance quotient of technology. How the regulators view us. I'll give an example. Last year, myself and Daya Bhai, Mr. Reserve Bank of India, the moment we said they offered a cup of coffee, and they said, Mr. Nanda, we want the institute to regulate any information system audit, any cybersecurity audit, any vulnerability audit which is done in India by any professional, may it be an engineer, may it be a company secretary, ICAI, let the regulator be the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. We said, sir, the regulation does not permit us to regulate anybody other than a chartered accountant. They said, don't worry, we give you the mandate to create a Section 8 company. And through that Section 8 company, please mandate any information system audit that is done in India. Look where the profession is going. We started way back in 1949, 1st July 1949, when the most important document to the democracy, the Constitution, was not adopted. All of you are well aware that the Constitution to this great country was adopted. 26 January 1950. The pertinent question that arises is, what prompted the Constituent Assembly to set up an Institute of Chartered Accountants of India? The answer is very candid, very simple, very forthcoming. They were looking for a disciplined band of soldiers to put this country out of confusion, and there we are, all of us, the financial technology soldiers of this great country. My dear fellow friends, this profession looks upon us, and we have to become leaders for India and world to showcase that technology can change the way things happen. Technology helps in 3 very important areas. Number 1, we have said goodbye to sampling. 100% data is taken care of. Number 2, very importantly, technology gives the inputs on time. The work is finished on time, which is very, very important. The timeliness is met. And third and very important thing, technology makes things come correct. No silly mistakes. Reason? The computers are very happy to do monotonous things. They are not in tension. What will happen? So we have to embrace technology and ensure how technology can ease our system of doing work, and more importantly, how technology could ultimately create an era where all of us could go ahead, practice, contribute, consult, and more importantly, create a value add for the country and our clients. I'll not speak much. I'm seeing so much learned speakers. I like to listen to their panel discussions. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Daya Bhai and Umesh Bhai, for calling me. I call them very fondly Sharma Bandhus. Thank you, Sharma Bandhus. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Vice President. And I think you have put the heart out of it. And the most important part, friends, let us go back and listen to this discussion, what the Vice President had talked about. It's something very, very touchy. And each one of us consciously and subconsciously are working towards that. But only the subconscious mind becomes conscious. I think the speed with which we are going to move forward, the examples will come out in form of the panelists who are there today with us. Thank you, Vice President, for making it possible. Just thank you, sir. And just to take you back to the discussion where we ended from with Praveen, where he talked about technology transformation, which is coming. Again, I'm repeating for the sake of repetition. When we talk about Digital India Initiative, one of the parameter was delivery of service digitally. That is something which is actually he talked about in detail in his discussion, how GSTN has actually netted the entire nation effectively is actually come forward. And this is a clean example of how the entire nation, which is actually divided in different state, but as GST, we are one. And I think that was the vision of Prime Minister, the way Finance Minister, again, I'm repeating only for the sake of saying, because the vision, the leadership is always to be saluted. When we talk about Pokhran test, it is always appreciate the efforts which have been put by Sri APJ Abdul Kalam sir. No exception to it, right? Now, when we talk about this technology across, Renal, you have been associated in the international platforms where various companies, and now a company in Abu Dhabi which is actually only on the AI. So friends, we are not only going to talk about AI, don't worry, we are going to talk about other things also. But the temptation and the excitement across the globe is on AI. So it goes back to AI, and AI. But yes, we will like to understand from you, Nirin, how is global companies actually looking at AI? What is that when you are talking from a satellite point of view, so many activities, and more importantly, when you're sitting in a place like Abu Dhabi, where most of the people are getting connected, and UAE being one of the advanced countries with regard, you talk about blockchain and you talk about artificial intelligence, they have different departments which are being created already, and huge amount of money is getting pumped into that. What is that you people at that level are looking at from different company perspectives?
It's a very pertinent question, and when we speak about UAE, right? I think the country was one of the first pioneers into this technology and invested heavily into it. We have a minister not only of happiness, but we also have a minister for tolerance, but also a minister for AI, right? One of the many unique ministries in the world that exist today. What has happened is, as we have seen the world progress, we have actually seen the more and more adoption of AI across the board. The transformation that we have seen has been quite fabulous in terms of us moving from thinking about AI as just in terms of what can happen in terms of improving work and improving workflows, but also going into deeper levels of improvement in terms of medical, improvement in terms of longevity of people, improvements in terms of living scales and living benefits to the population. We've been able to implement genome sequencing, for example, right, where we are able to use AI to analyze and understand how health is being impacted. Corporations across the globe are now starting to see the benefits of AI. Microsoft was one of the pioneers into this, in addition to others like Meta and Apple and Google. They invested into OpenAI right at the beginning of this process. They were able to bring out the first large language model that is universally adopted across the world as the pioneer in our first step towards general artificial intelligence, which is called ChatGPT. Now, everybody knows ChatGPT. The advances that ChatGPT is making is such that most people see it as a danger, but I and others in the AI industry actually see it as a benefit to humankind. We are looking at AI revolutionizing everything that we do, right from disease detection to communication to extraction of natural resources, ensuring that sustainability of our planet can be actually achieved, reducing our carbon footprint to improving living conditions and longevity for the human race as a whole. Organizations like Microsoft has not only implemented it in their processes, where there is now a full synonymous alignment between hardware and software, but also they are investing into companies like ours, where Microsoft has recently taken a $1.5 billion stake into a company out of Abu Dhabi for the first time, where we have partnered into improving the relationships and ensuring there can be significant growth for both organizations. To give you a small example, Mr. Manish was yesterday referring to how AI chips are being implemented into computers. Apple is now going to come up with iPhone 16 this September, which will for the first time have an AI chip inside it. So it is now becoming pervasive. Elon Musk's Neuralink is actually going to implement a chip into people's brains so that deceased and decapitated people who cannot actually do anything in the real world can now communicate, and also maybe even parts of their body can now be activated. I cannot stop talking about how organizations are thinking about AI and what they're doing, right? It's not just, I mean, in earlier days, it was just the autocorrect on our phones, right? Which was sort of artificial intelligence. It's the lowest form of narrow artificial intelligence today. We today have vehicles that drive themselves. We have drones that can transport people in high-risk areas without the use of manpower, right? It is just mind-boggling that AI, once general artificial intelligence is implemented, there is research and development that is going across the world where we potentially will have a cure for cancer as soon as AGI is implemented, right? I imagine a world without cancer. Imagine a world where communication is not just across spectrums or using satellite, but it also streamlines it to include direct-to-device and Internet of Things, right? So every device can communicate with each other and ensure efficiency in every aspect that we do, right? We don't need to remember anything anymore, right? Education is going to be transformed. Global corporations are now looking at improving human mindset into ensuring, people are able to concentrate on what is most valuable, which is bringing the human touch to everything that we do, rather than doing repetitive tasks. Anything that can be automated or repetitive will no longer exist. And with that will bring efficiencies in utilizing our resources, not just people, but also planetary resources, resources in space, for example. Understanding the use of food, understanding the use of, wastage of food, wastage of water, mineral resources, understanding how our ecosystems are being developed, our forestry is being developed, how our mining is being used. There's no limitation to this, right? And what is happening is, although it started as big data and analyzing big data and understanding trends in big data, now AI is advanced to a level where we can implement it across industries and ensure efficiency is garnered to make things profitable, faster, more secure, and cheaper for people to actually use. The limits are, I don't know the limits, right? And I think there are no limits to this as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Renil. I think so nicely you have put forward, but only thing which I was visualizing is body get obese, but now brains are going to get obese with the technology actually coming in. You are not going to have much to work for your brain, then it is just going to be just click of buttons and things will grow up. And what we have been watching in the Star Wars and other multiple movies, that the heads of an alien is bigger than his body. So I think with this, ये पेट का जो है वो दिमाग तक चला जाएगा. I think that is where it is going to move towards. And fantastic. I think you have put forward some certain things which is unimaginable. And because you're sitting in the center of technology world, and the way things have been moving is unmatchable. It's amazing. And let me just go to another person who you referred in your discussion, Manish. Manish, you have been in the industry from quite a long time, and HP has been, one such organization which has been effectively working on. What are your experiences on the implementations and any case study with regards to where the transformation has effectively happened? Though we have got so many examples, and there is no better example than Praveen himself, who is sitting here. But yes, I would like to listen from you, from US standpoint of view, or might be any other part of the world where you've got experience. Request you to kindly just share with our viewers and case study or an example which you can.
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. A great question. I think it's important that I connect it and I make it real for our participants and also for my fellow panelists here, who most of them are CFOs. So today, if you ask a CFO, if I give them a perfect storm example and then ask them to give a direction to the company, how they're going to give direction. So let me paint the picture, right? So every company, whether it's for profit or not for profit, exists for a particular objective. Okay. And then they need to drive business outcomes. The business outcome can be growing top line, growing bottom line, cash flow, etc., etc. I'm going to take us back in time. Think about a situation, end of 2019, early 2020, COVID happens. China, Wuhan in specific is the epicenter of that COVID. There are multiple tech industries around the globe who have manufacturing facilities in Wuhan, China. They all get shut down. Why? Because there's COVID and this shutdown happens. Okay. Commodities, which go as part of the manufacturing process for these tech industries, get stopped because they're not getting manufactured. There is a Suez Canal blockage, a ship gets blocked there. There is geopolitical tension happening in Russia and Ukraine. There is logistical challenges happening in the Red Sea. There is pirates all over, etc. Now, this is a perfect storm in which a CFO or an accounting or a finance professional has to operate. And at the same time, think about a situation where the company has to be guided for its future. And if it's a listed company on a quarterly basis, even if it's not a listed company, at least they have a 2, 3, 5 years plan in which they have to be guided. Now think of all this situation, and a CFO who is wearing the hat of a CFO needs to know various scenarios and how they're going to pan out. Now keep in mind, humans definitely with their intelligence can work out multiple scenarios, make some assumptions, come up with some plans, come up with some action items, etc. But they're always limited by time and resources and the data available to them. Think about now AI coming into play, using a lot of data out there and creating millions and millions and millions of scenarios for a CFO and telling them, look, if this were to happen, this is the outcome. If that were to happen, this is the outcome, using multiple drivers, multiple scenarios. And then helping the CFO's office or the CFO to narrow down to top 5 or top 3 or top 2, whatever those scenarios are, specific to their industry. Trust me, every CFO in the world would want such a tool at their disposal, because in the ecosystem in which we operate, none of the drivers are static, none. They're always moving, always dynamic. So is there a tool out there? Is there a data out there that could give them scenarios to work with? And then, of course, the human judgment, the human experience comes into play, because now the AI tool has helped them give these multiple scenarios. And most of the tech industry, not only HP, most of the tech industry went through all these things, and we had to plan for what next. And given we are listed in the SEC, most of the tech industry would be listed here in the SEC. They had to kind of also keep the investor sentiment, the analyst sentiment into check, make sure that they understand where they're headed, post-COVID, through COVID, after COVID, etc. So I think AI definitely has already started to play a huge part in how at least the tech industry operates. I can tell you, whether it's healthcare, pharma, insurance, etc., a lot of these industries are already employing AI, to drive business outcomes. A good classic example, which is closest to heart, is, and I'm guessing it's happening in India as well, your driving behavior is being monitored by a machine, and the driving behavior then drives your insurance premium with an insurance company, right? So there are classic examples that are happening as we speak. It's not future, it's happening as we speak. It's more current. So I think that is the examples that comes to my mind. And let me pause and turn it back to you. But definitely these are the examples that come to my mind that really they're happening as we speak there.
I think rightly stated, any transaction which is going to stop or go in a faster mode, the impact is going to go to a CFO only. मतलब पहले क्या था, CFO was a cost center, now he is a power center, rather, I'll put it this way. And the way the CEOs, and fortunately we have certain good example of chartered accountants who actually moved from CFO to CEO level. And the acumen of finance and added with technology, or might be a business thought process, is actually taking chartered accountants to a different level altogether. In the recent past, there was a beautiful discussion happening with Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, where he talked about one specific thing, that my father wanted me to be chartered accountant. Till that time, I was not allowed to come in the business. That statement actually motivated me to a different level and just gave me that confidence that, we are on a right track. So that is where it is. But I'll leave now the further questions to be asked by Umeshji. Anything which comes to your mind, Umesh, because you have just disappeared. I think you went for a breakfast.
No. I had a call, so I finished it and came back. But I was there listening to Renal Rauf and Manishji seriously, and it has been a very nice journey of this AI and the things happening across the globe. Now let's come back to Saurabh Maheshwari ji. Saurabh ji, what are the general uses and impact of AI in accounting? Because you are connected with the ICAI, you are a faculty and you interact with many of the chartered accountants. So what skills are necessary for an accountant to effectively leverage AI technology? Over to you, Saurabh.
Sure, Umesh sir. Before answering your question, I would like to put certain facts and figure in front of the chartered accountants so that they can actually feel the sense of acquiring this technology part. Fine. So I'll be sharing a small screen of mine. I hope it's visible to you all. Is it visible, sir? Umesh sir?
Yeah.
So first of all, very thanks to Institute to talk about technology. The word AI was already there in ICAI. And I think the coined the word AI by John McCarthy in 1952, but ICAI was already having AI. So I think you are slightly a foresighted community of professionals who have thought of including AI by default in your name itself from the day one onwards. So that's something I think we need to applaud for. At the same time, the second big thing which I feel like is as an engineer, I've always celebrated this technology day. But I feel very privileged that chartered accountants are now celebrating this technology day and feeling that this is something which is going to drive their future. So although the ages and the generation we are from, we will be the initiator and starter for this technology, the next generation has to adopt this to a next level altogether. And they are the one who are actually going to be the drivers for letting the India from 3 trillion economy to a 10 trillion economy. Now, just facts and figures for you to understand the market size, then only I'll be talking about the skills which are required. See, India has around 6 million MSMEs, which is the largest quantum of MSMEs in the world. And let me tell you, all these MSMEs are in a process of getting automated. You take it or don't take it, but I think next 5 years down the line, this is very fact. And this fact can be coined with another fact, which is like 400 billion US dollars is going to be invested in only Indian market for tech automation by 2027. And this particular figure will lead us to the 4th largest digital transformation country in the world. I think that is by default, can be seen in the fact which is just mentioned underneath. Then it's 5 trillion economy we are heading towards. And this particular take from almost 4 trillion economy to 5 trillion economy is going to be tech driven. Now, how soon we're going to have it? I believe like 2027 is slightly an ahead target. We should achieve it by 2025 itself. But the only thing which needs to be driven down is tech now. Another facts and figure for you, as rightly said by Daya sir, that we are by default the largest economy in the digital transaction. Let me quantify that. Last financial year, we have crossed 15 crore digital transactions in the country. So with a country which is just having less than 150 crore population, having 15,000 crore transactions, that means every individual is actually having 100 transactions in a year. Fine, that's a big quantum, and I think we should congratulate to the entire ecosystem which has built up in last a decade or so in the country with such an assurance that we don't feel like sharing the money with a QR code on an online payment. And I think that transformation, we all have been a catalyst to that. 10 years back from now, none of us was interested to do any transactions in which we have to send the money in advance and then we are waiting for the products. But today we are so habitual that this is going to happen. Thanks to the tech and thanks to the compliance also, which is important. Now coming to that particular fintech part, there are 17 fintech unicorns in the country. And these 17 fintech unicorns, along with the other fintech startups in the country, have attracted $34 billion as an investment in the Indian market. That's one of the biggest quantum of money which has come up into any startup segment in the country. Fine. But on the other side, when we are looking forward for good side of it, let's see the bad side. In last year itself, I'm talking about only last year, we have lost 10,000 crore rupees just because of cybercrime. Now, this ignites us that we are heading towards two different verticals. One is digital transformation as a catalyst to, fuel our economy to get to a bigger part. At the same time, it is also troubling us, these crimes and all. So in that manner, I always take that 2/3 of the earth is covered by water. The rest 1/3 is covered by auditors. Now, rather than auditors, I put it tech auditors. Now, when the tech auditors are there, there has to be some skills that needs to be acquired by you all. And those skills must be driven by tech-related technological tools. So I believe rather than having certain specific certifications or certain specific degrees and diplomas, a chartered accountant or a financial professionals needs to look forward for what are the areas wherein he has an interest to pursue. And that respective tech skills may be blockchain for data related matter, maybe cybersecurity for making sure that Indian ecosystem is being safe or side, maybe from the tech side in terms of implementing compliances, maybe in the case of transformation sides for associating the companies with the right tech companies to help them in tech transformation. I think those skills are required. And that is the reason I always say that I'm not looking forward for chartered accountants as a financial professional or fintech professionals. I always believe that chartered accountants have to be the digital transformation catalyst for the country to happen. And you have to involve yourself into the entire process of digital transformation, from implementation of technology to the usage of technology, from the compliance to the gap identification, from the training the individuals to maybe supporting the development team also, because you are the one who are seeing the entire business process from the eagle eye view, and you know where the loopholes are. You know what are the ways in which the attackers or people who are trying to disrupt this entire transactions can actually involve into. So considering your eagle eye view, I think your involvement is the most important involvement for getting the transactions or getting the digital transformation happen. So for that, the right skills can be into a cybersecurity domain, be into technological consultant, maybe be a cloud consultant as well, because that's again very important thing. Try to be a cybersecurity expert rather than developing the tools. I think implementation is something which is being more missing in India. And for saying so, I'll put another fact in front of you, which is being CERT in, you know, the body CERT, that is Computer Emergency Response Team, which is under the Act of Information Technology, crafted a body to take care of the entire cybersecurity incidents in the country. They've pointed out thrice in the last 3 years that Indian MSMEs are into a very troublesome situations because cyber attacks are bound to come up to them, whereas they are completely lacking into the right security tools. And the gap is only lying because as an engineer, I know what needs to be done, but I am not approachable, or I do not know where the problem is, or I do not know who to come up with. So you have to find out the companies, their problems, their lacunas, and connect to the right tech individuals to develop that mechanisms for covering the security part. So I believe like it's actually the fintech part, you take the fin part, I take the tech part, and collaboratively we build up the entire fintech ecosystem for the world.
Thank you, Saurabh Maheshwari-ji. And you are a doctor, you are a tech doctor as such, and you have correctly analyzed the pain points of chartered accountant, pain points of the technology, and what are the remedies, which are the things that a CA need to be taking. And you have already pointed out that as a CA, which areas to focus on, implementation part, on the security part. Now, quickly, can you put a point on the cloud computing, because the data is now there on the cloud. So what you see the future of a cloud computing and a role of a CA in that?
Sir, technically speaking, almost... please, sir,
Yeah, sorry. Just because this is a very important point which Umesh has raised. So what I request you is all the speakers who are there, we require 1 or 2 minutes, very quick thoughts on cloud computing, because that is coming in a big way, very importantly. So all of you, might be Umesh, you can actually one after another. So cloud computing is very important.
Sure. So I'll take the privilege for beginning and let the stage set for others as well. So cloud, is something which is a pool of resources. So an organization today is needing a lot of resources for data processing, for data management, for security, for digital transformation. Acquiring, developing, and implementing all these resources at the cost of the company is not that easy task. And they may not be in a position to afford not only the setup cost, but the maintenance and the development cost as well. So I think the best resource comes up to them is that cloud resources. So wherein there are a lot of tech companies who are developing different platforms, maybe for CRM, for SCM, for financial bookkeeping, for data management, as a security operations center itself. So those companies who have built up that particular tools and all technologies have placed it on the cloud platform. And that is the reason SaaS services, which is known as software as a service, is going to be the biggest market in the world in times to come. Because everybody of us needing technology, but not in a capacity to develop and implement the technology, or maybe upgrade the technology on the regular basis. So in that sense, cloud is going to be a bigger part. One part is for implementation thing. Second thing comes up when it comes to data management. Now, the quantum of data we are generating and the free flow of data, which is required for compliance as well, we have to keep that at a place which is accessible from anywhere, anytime, rather than depending on our own infrastructure. In that sense, cloud rated resources for data management, I think, are going to be the next important characteristics in the technology which every organization has to have for it. Maybe the times to come up, the government can come up with certain compliances that no, every data has to be on cloud in such a particular manner, so that the existence of the data, the compliance of the data, at the same time the recovery of the data can be ensured. And cloud on one side can give the highest level of security. Reason being, the pool of resources is not only from infrastructure and tech side, it's also from the security side. So as an individual, as a company, we may not be able to implement the right tech software, the technology for safeguarding our assets and resources. And when I'm talking about assets, I'm also talking about the digital assets, which is going to be the next big thing in the market. So our intellectual properties, our copyright documents, entire the designs, everything, whatever you are making for your own organizations, are going to be important thing. So safeguarding the digital assets may not be the capability of one particular organization, but on cloud resources, we can expect the cloud service provider to provide the right resources to us.
Correct.
So in a totality, there is a lot of things which can be coming up, and I think my fellow panel member will be able to put more lights into that.
Yeah, thank you, Saurabh-ji. Now let's move to Naval Bajaj-ji. What's your view on the cloud computing and the future of it?
I agree with my panelist Saurabh-ji when he says that cloud is the future, or I would say it's the present. And whatever he said, I will just compliment that. But I would also add a couple of things in terms of the risk side of it. On the risk side, for example, we have seen a regulation in companies right now that stipulates that your at least the backup server has to be the boost of account server has to be located in India, even if it is in the cloud. Why do we need to say it? Because if there is the entire accounting data is somewhere outside India, tomorrow the regulators want to review something. We had a news story about the kill switch of a very big car aggregator company of the world. Those kind of scenarios can actually result in data not being available to the regulators. So while cloud is having great application to bring the security and the other efficiency parts as a level playing field to the smaller players and to the bigger players, and it is going to actually create a lot of opportunity for the smaller players. The two aspects which need to be seen is, number one, in terms of the cost of computing, how much cost who can bear. I think that is one aspect that the regulators like ICAI or the people in the industry have to really watch out for. And the second is availability of data at all the times from a regulatory point of view. That has also got to be ensured. And I think as chartered accountants, we can contribute that.
Correct. So, yeah, thank you, Naval Bajaj-ji, on your views on cloud computing. And many times in our life, whenever there are the clouds, we are happy. They will rain, they will give water, and we will flourish. But many times when we are in trouble, we fondly call, oh, there are the black clouds coming up. So when we are in cloud computing, we have to note down the advantages and disadvantages both. So let's move to Rauf, sir. Over to you, Raufji, on your cloud computing comments.
Thanks, Sumiji. I was fortunate to be involved in the program where we implemented the largest cloud computing facility in the MENA region, right? What we saw as a huge infrastructure investment actually paved the way for changing the way we think about how technology can evolve, how an economy can prosper. Because for the first time ever, we could actually provide secure and fast computing capabilities based out of the region that each and every company operates out of. It also provides a very good way for data ownership and compliance to GDPR requirements, because you are now able to segment and store data in such a way that every compliance requirements across the board for various companies and countries are actually implementable in a very fast and efficient manner. I think cloud computing is the present, and tomorrow we should also be ready to accept quantum computing, which will also further enhance the way security and services are gonna function, and the speed at which we interact and work. With remote working and distributed working actually becoming the new norms, I think there is no way that we can deny everything that we do. I mean, today we are meeting actually in the cloud, right? It's going to change the way we collaborate and work together with each other. The power of a nation, the power of a company, the power of an individual will be to harness how we can deploy our resources and ensure that our resources can actually work without seeming any boundaries of geography, language, or manpower, right? And cloud computing is the first step towards that, in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you, Renel Rauf, on the cloud computing to quantum computing concept and the things which are moving. Now let's move to Manishji. Over to you on your comments, because you have a very beautiful background where there are different colors of the cloud.
Yeah, this is what technology can do. It can mislead. So anyhow, thanks for the question. Let me give you my little perspective on cloud computing. So first of all, I agree with my fellow speakers here. But why cloud computing? That question in itself begs a little bit of thinking. So cloud computing came into play because companies should be focused on core and outsource the non-core, right? So if I'm into FMCG, my business is not maintaining servers and data and security and this and that. So that is not core for me. So I have to outsource it to someone. So then I think about how do I do that? So the companies that came into play became AAS service providers, which is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, subscription as a service, etc. And that's how the need for cloud computing even came into play. So private cloud, public cloud, hybrid. A classic example today, if you think about Netflix, what is it? It's cloud computing. End of the day, rather than you buying lot of series and movies and documentaries and all, Netflix has done everything for you and you pay a monthly charge and you're done. You don't have to worry about how to create network, manage network, this, that. So Netflix is the classic example. So I think the why for me is always important on how the technology will progress, and that why for me started from the thinking of the core versus non-core. And the second thing which will drive cloud computing, which it is already driving, is make or buy, right? If a company who is too finicky, and I'm going to take US federal accounts like healthcare, defense, etc., they may be wary of putting things on the public cloud, so they're going to create their own private cloud. But if a company is like, look, I don't mind putting this out there in the public, cloud, like an automotive manufacturer, they could do a hybrid of the two. So that's that drive the make or buy about cloud computing. It's already happening. It's not future. It's already happened. We are midway through the journey, and it's going to continue to happen basically. So back to you, Meji, with those feedback.
Yeah, you have given a very good and practical example, because today's generation is all on the mobile and nobody is able to see, nobody is seeing TV as such, and it's all the Netflix and Amazon and Prime. So it's a example, practical example. So in a CA's office, it's need that they should move to the cloud computing and take care of the digital security, other things that our other panelists have also visualized. So, Praveen sir, over to you, because I think that whenever there is a tax matters, or whether any notices are coming, everything is coming now digitally. So many times we say that the GST cloud is raining and the notices are coming. So,
And chartered accountants are soaring. No, on a lighter note, I think most of the point related to cloud computing, my co-panelist has covered. So with the analogy, like cloud computing is an open access kind of a thing. When like resources, one has to put the resources, and when there is the combined resources, you can get best out of it. It's a living in a condominium, living in a society. Like if you have to manage independent house, you have to get a plumber, electrician, and everything. If you are in a society, everything is managed, and you can get best out of it. And you don't have to worry for that. It's a pay per use. You have to pay the maintenance charges kind of a thing, and you can enjoy the facility. So that's one aspect of the using the cloud computing and the cloud aspect. And like Manish has rightly said, like everybody should focus into the core. Whatever your core forte, core expertise, like chartered accountant if he is doing, and if he has to move into digital, the first step should be you move the small thing into the cloud. But you have to take care of the security aspects as well. You have to go to the best cloud where the security parameters are highest standard, because nowadays we have oftenly heard that so much of a data of the customer from the bank has been breached and so many other things. So that's the biggest risk these days. Data privacy and the data leak is the biggest risk, biggest threat. Like Saurav has said, like 10,000 crore rupees of a cyber fraud has happened. So from where they pull the data, maybe the data gone into the public domain from some cloud or somewhere you have put your numbers or something, it linked to somewhere. So that's a pitfall. If anything is there, gulab ke saath kaante aayenge hi. So that's one thing. There is a good aspects and the bad aspects. So one has to make a boundary how much he has to do the cloud computing. The most strategic aspects, the NASA, defense, Pentagon and all, they have their own private cloud, private set of a cage where there is no compromise on the data. So those aspects is a very vital for a very sensitive business, particularly for the banking, and then fintechs and all.
Correct. Over to you, Chairman sir.
Thank you very much. And one thing, because we are almost coming to the end of the discussion, because it's almost going to be 12:30 shortly. I'm going to combine a couple of things, and might be we'll take your opinion. See, when you talk about cloud computing, we talked about cloud computing, we talked about data analytics, we talked about AI, we talked about cyber framework which is required and where the government is actually going through. Now, one thing which comes to my mind, Praveen bhai, is basically like when you are talking about a department like GSTN, or might be most of the organization when you talk from a Naval's company background where the data is being secured and stored in a particular way. Today, it's not maintained on the systems and computers or on the servers. It's actually maintained on the cloud. Now, there are 2-3 things which I request you all people to just listen for a moment, which is very important because this is the concluding statement of today's technology session. Is one side, ease of doing business is use of technology. Now, I have used technology and have collected huge number of numbers. So instead of retaining it on a hard system, I'm putting in a cloud system. From a cloud system, I'm getting into cybersecurity issues. Then from cybersecurity is one side. Second side of it is data analytics. I think when you talk about a platform like GSTN, they would be in position to actually pull out PIN code wise all the data, what kind of returns which are being filed, which area is predominantly available on which particular area, what kind of activity they are doing. Example, a center is being picked up, and in that particular center, pharmaceutical is the highest, right? Which otherwise we were generally knowing, but with the transaction numbers, we'll get to know. And in that particular process, there comes a new transaction, which is again a red flag or might be a flag which we would like to analyze. So that is basically data analytics. From data analytics, today, to sit and do that entire punching of the tables and formats, what is happening is AI actually coming in. In AI, what is happening is AI, you just give instruction in a general language, it is throwing you out with so many exceptions or might be the analysis what is required. So this journey, when we are talking about, which is from a transaction entry to transaction evaluation, and also coming to a level where predictive approach or prospective approach. Predictive, as you all know, is basically I'm able to predict the future, what it will be based on the seasoning, this, that, and all of that. And prospective is a new perspective coming out of it, which actually changes the management decision. That is one more important factor which is there. So what I request you is, though I had to put it such a long question, I hope you guys are very intelligent to understand what I'm trying to put forward. But Praveen bhai, from your point of view, to start with, then we can go to Naval, then we can go to Manish, and then we'll go to Renil, and then we'll go to Saurabh. That is the sequence in which we will go. Umesh bhai, if it is fine, is it fine, Chairman, Vice Chairman? Right?
Yes, yes.
तो टेक्नोलॉजी डे क्या होता, एक के साथ 5 फ्री कभी होता नहीं है, बट यहाँ पे टेक्नोलॉजी में हो जाता है सर. So today we are actually going to go for that moment where एक के साथ 5 free. And let's start with Praveen on understanding how this transaction entry to the analysis of data is actually been perceived by you.
Very, very nice perspective there. And like I said earlier to Umesh ji, like after GST came, so much of a planning, that business planning can happen, the government spending planning can happen. I said that how much of infrastructure government has to put that and all. So that's a initial stage of that. And for any business entity, they can, with the help of technology, with the help of various tools, they can predict. Nowadays, everybody is saying that the finance folks and particularly the CFOs are no longer those CFOs. They have to predict. They have to get the board and their top management engaged that how the business is going to happen. So it's their things, and they can see and they can visualize those things on a better perspective because of the data entry. How much is the financial transaction or at the transactions level? How much is the things are happening? If they say that, if one can see that sales is happening, but the cash is not coming into the books or in the system, that means data thing is outstanding is getting created, and so on. They can predict that going forward, I will be mostly under the borrowing part. So the cash flow would be less, the borrowing will be high, the profitability will be come down. Though your sales is increasing, but your profitability will be go down vis-a-vis the value of the company. So those level of a prediction, those level of the analytics, the finance folks, particularly chartered accountant and other things are being done. Likewise, like giving the example of like you have said on the GST, particularly when a sales transaction is getting happened, so it is getting captured into the GST platform, and all the B2B transactions is getting captured by the seller and buyer in their respective portals, because all are getting into the e-invoice mode and all everything. So you can better get an analysis if there is a trader, if he's doing a trading, so how much quantity of a particular, like he is a trader of various grains, dals and other things, so he can predict the cyclic effect of the things, and do the analytics. So all are in a real-time basis, which was not possible earlier. So with the help of technology, we can do a lot of things, and the total business value cycle has been completed from one end to another end. So that's my take into that. So it is primarily the analytics part from the source that you are getting, and the source of the data truth is the same. So there is nothing one can earlier. Your sales figure by the sales folks are given separate. Some field force is getting separate. Then you are getting collect all these things. No, there is a difference. So people spend half of the time reconciliation karte hain, where there is a difference and all. Now the source is same. So there is a no. Time is going कि that कितना sales हुआ.
नहीं, क्योंकि हमारे उमेश जी है ना, वो बहुत जेम्स बॉन्ड है आजकल. वो क्या करते हैं, हैकाथॉन के नाम से है ना, सब लोगों से सीख रहे हैं बैठकर स्क्रीन पे. एंड व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज दिस इज आउटकम व्हिच ही इज एक्चुअली एबल टू एंजॉय दैट वेरी वेल. आई एम राइट, उमेश?
Yeah. And sir, and all our panelists, you all will be amazed that hackathons that we are doing, they are received by our chartered accountancy profession members, students in large. They are giving it live like IPL cricket matches in their offices every Friday 5 to 7, and in YouTube they are on top trending, and lots of important use case with the demo are being there. So please follow their hackathons, and next hackathon is on Friday, which is on the presentation part, that how to prepare PPTs, how to prepare internal audit reports, how to present before the management using the AI. So that will be very important.
आजकल somebody was telling the audit report is being generated by ChatGPT. बोलते कि सारे audit report को लगाकर ChatGPT को बोलता है audit report निकाल दो.
It's a draft, sir. It's a draft, but we have to ensure our own original intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah, there, sir.
Yes. Now over to Naval. Naval, your views on this matter.
As we discussed, a lot of things are happening at the same time, simultaneously within the organizations. For example, for a multinational company, the headquarter of the company would be looking at implementing some new IT systems to get better hang of the information so that they can make their decision making better. Similarly, at the country level or at the regional level, the individuals, decision makers or the leaders would also be trying to do that, capture everything in certain ways. Globally, last decade shows that there is a concerted effort by all the organizations to actually harmonize all this information rather than moving from local IT applications to standard applications, and then moving to the cloud, and now we're talking about quantum computing, everything. But what is important to be seen here is there are still breakages in between. There are still what you call fault lines, as they say in the political language. So why do they exist? They exist because of the basic human tendencies. At the end of the day, the decision makers are humans, whether it's an organization, whether it's regulators, whether it's government. And those human elements actually could actually result in success or failure of a particular initiative, especially relating to the technology. I'll give you an example. Now, as simple as, we were talking about ChatGPT. Now, today, if Naval decides that I want to implement a ChatGPT solution, wherein the business leaders do not need to ask my MIS person for the daily order intake or a monthly sales turnover or a gross profit, as basic at that level of financial metrics, right? And I decide that I automate it through a ChatGPT solution. All the data will be at one place. They can simply chat with this solution. I will definitely save a couple of contracted workforce by just implementing this, because the number of queries are huge. Now, this as a principle, technology, very simple solution is very looks good on the face of it. What if one of the guys goes there and configures, at the back end in the algorithm that if the information is coming from a region or from a junior person, then do not answer for 3 hours. If it is coming from a managing director, answer it immediately, and so on. Why I am giving this example is because this is what actually happens. These biases actually exist in organizations. This is the human behavior. And all of this, if it goes to the technology, if it goes to the algorithm that we are training, they are going to create bias. So what I'm trying to tell here is that while the journey is great because everyone else is talking about that, I am not going on that side. We have to be very, very careful about what model we are implementing, and we have to be very careful about how we are training that kid. And the kid I'm talking about is that artificial intelligence algorithm. It's a kid with phenomenal talent, with phenomenal possibilities, but then we have to train it in the right way. And to train it in the right way, we need to have code of conducts, we need to have policies, we need to have regulations, we need to have laws. And I'm sure the laws will also emerge over a period of time as soon as we all talk about. And I will give a compliment to Umesh and Dayavai because the first thing is to know what is there. And these hackathons, as you rightly mentioned, they will help the leaders, they will help the decision makers in knowing what is there. Only when you know what is there, you can devise a process around it, or you can devise a monitoring around it. So, just one last comment there from my side. We were talking about the phenomenal automation on the GST side. Now, there are onerous provisions on the organizations. For example, one of the provision is such states in GST that, if as an organization I take an input tax credit, rightfully so from my vendor, but my vendor's vendor is not non-existent, or there is some problem with my vendor's vendor, not my direct vendor, that input tax credit is actually not supposed to be taken by me. Now, if I do not have a very solid tool for third-party due diligence, which can tell me about struck-off companies, which can tell me about insolvency proceedings going on somewhere, or legal proceedings, or any media updates, or something like that, I cannot manage it. I will realize it after 2 years when the GST audit happens, and then I will have to pay an interest of 15% on whatever input rate I took, apart from the other penalties. Look at the cost. So I come to know about this problem because I came to know about the potential solution which someone came to propose it to me. So this is, I think, as finance professionals, the most important thing what we need to do is to keep attending all these hackathons and try to participate, try to read of what is happening around us, and then I think we will move in the right direction. Back to you, Dev.
Thank you, Naval. Thank you very much for all these insights. Renal, next is to you. The same question repeats.
Yeah, I look at it as 2 layers on top of each other, right? On the lower layer for me is transactional, and the left hand side is transactional, right hand side is decision making, right? And on the top layer, on the left hand side is effort required by human beings, right? Into what direction? The way I see this is as technology is evolving, and as senior leaders in our respective segments, we spend less time creating data and more time analyzing information. I think that's all pervasive, whether you are a CFO, whether you are in partnership, or you're doing your own practice, or you are a doctor or an engineer or a CEO or a leader of a nation, right? What we're going to do over a period of time is that we're going to move away from spending a lot of time on transactions as human beings, and then start using our human brain, our emotional intelligence, our emotional quotient, and spend a lot of time thinking about what is better for all of us, right? I think that's where we're going. And that's the most transformational thing. We are the only generation, I think all of us are old enough to have gone from, the slates and the books into phones with keypads, into slider things that we're using, into a world where it's all in the soft mode, right? We're the only generation, and there'll be no generation like us. And what is going to happen is that transformation that you're going to see for the next 20 years is going to change the way we live and we work, and we look down back upon our childhood. And even today, we're going to look in 20 years' time, we're going to look back at this and go, we thought this world is going to be so much worse, but in fact, we have made it so much better together, right? That transformation is coming. If you're not willing to change, we'll just become like a monolithic rock, right? That's all I'd say.
I think you are right, Nil, and very rightly put by Praveen also in his discussion that this technology is evolving to a level where we are actually going and touching the ESG part also, where I'm going to travel less, I'm going to spend less, I'm going to burn out less carbon, I'm not going to do this, that, and all other, and things are going to go better. But the other side of the story is different. Everything has a positive and negative side. How you make it more effective is a choice which you have. When you are having comfortable time, go and do your exercises and do something better things so that you are healthy and fit. But whereas some people actually get lazy, that's the choice of a person. But that is how things have evolved over a period of time. When we used to be kids, I think we used to go on the roads and play around without any bothering about the pollution. Whereas can you tell our children today to go there? So there are a lot of things which are actually evolving, and you rightly stated, very practically on the left, right, and top and bottom. How you want to evolve yourself ultimately is the game. That's it. Great. And Manish, over to you now.
No, thanks for the opportunity. I think I'm going to just take two examples to drive home the point to your question, from data capturing to analytics to prediction to prescriptive. So again, I'm going to go back to my classic Netflix example. Think about what Netflix has done to our day-to-day life. First, it's created users in a home. So you, your spouse, your two kids each of them are a user. So they kind of track what time you watch what's your preferences. Not only that, to bring a great user experience to you, they are now prescribing. Maybe he's watching more documentaries, so let me keep prescribing more documentaries like the ones that you watched, and so forth. So it's already being done. So Netflix is, if you ask me, a classic example of taking data capturing right to prescriptive analytics, and it's kind of at the forefront of that. Now let me bring home a business example. Okay, if you think of any hardware moving, company where they move from their manufacturing base to a customer location, and you are using a lot of logistics, it could be ocean, air, surface, whatever transport, as long as you capture the data rightly, it keeps telling you, hey, look, you've been using surface and air combination, whereas an ocean and a surface is going to cost you less, and it's going to start prescribing. So think of those situations where your boxes move from factory in China, come to Singapore clearance, come to India, go to Poland, come to US, go to Mexico, and you do it without any planning, and you keep using air all the time. And the moment the data is captured, they can tell you ocean rates are going down. You may want to use more ocean, do more surface, do less of air. So things of that nature are evolving. So I think we can keep talking about technology and the theoretical aspects of it. But in the world today, this is actually happening as we speak, where if the data is rightly captured, we are going the entire spectrum from data capturing to prescriptive analytics, to your point, basically.
Perfectly put forward. I think you guys are you guys only because you guys are you guys. Thank you. And now, Saurabh, finally to you, and then.
Yeah. Sure. So there, sir. So thanks very much. Almost every point has been touched by my fellow panelists and all. But I'll still try to say that data is the new gold, and mining the data, managing the data, and storing the data, securing data is something which is the key thing which I think a chartered accountant is going to be responsible for in the near future. So another fact, because as an engineer, I always try to put figures in front of you. So I hope you all are aware that the data we are generating today, it's around 40 into 10 raised to the power 10 GB of data generated at the global level every day, every single day. So I think that's a big number. But that particular data falls into two categories. One is something which is very useful for the organization, something very useful for analytical purpose, and something which is of completely junk nature, which is false, which is fake. It's maybe deep fake videos or maybe certain other nonsense content, which is useless news. But as a financial professional, I think your decision as a CFO or CEO of the company are going to play a major important role for drafting their future. So you have to figure it out what is right and what is not, what is relevant data and what is not relevant data. I think that the analytics starts from their particular purpose, that is segregating the relevant data and then subtracting something which is not relevant for you. And then making sure that that particular data is to be systematically aligned first as per the problems or the issues you are facing. Then only you'll be able to come out with the solution for that. Now, adding to what Manish has said, how data is being, it's not only what we are watching Netflix is taking care of that. I'll quote an example. Yesterday, what had happened, I was just talking to my mom that, Mom, I need to have a peri-peri masala at home because outside peri-peri masala is like slightly more spices because kids are not liking it out. Now, it was at around 2 p.m. during my lunch. I have spoken to my mom. At around 2:05, I was about to post a message or some news on my social media platform. In 3 minutes, my social media platform was showcasing me, boss, it's a peri-peri masala for you. That means we are not only putting things directly, they are actually listening everything to us. And I have never ever talked about peri-peri masala in my life before with my mom, but the devices are actually capturing that point of data and they are replicating that particular data on the real-time basis in front of us. So that's the kind of analytics which is required. Now, if the tech people are doing it for pushing things for you, I think financial professionals, fintech, chartered accountants have to get into that real-time data analytics and do some sort of realistic predictive analytics for the company. So rather than getting into assumption-based working to an accuracy-based working. That is what I feel. And I think to sum up it up, I believe like all the chartered accountants today, the CA Institute has done a very amazing role to give you your version 1.0, which is a financial professional. Now, I think with technology, you have to discover your version 2.0. So your 2.0 have to be enabled and empowered by technology, data analytics, AI, cloud computing, cybersecurity, forensics. You have to understand all these things, not from the perspective of development, but from the perspective of implementation for the sake of business, for the sake of society. And I think version 2.0, Institute is doing amazing work with AI and ICAI, with DAP doing a lot of certification courses and all. I think the congratulations should go to the entire team that now the next generation of chartered accountant has to be version 2.0 with tech enablement. That's my sum up there, sir.
Great, Saurabh. Thank you very much for giving all compliments to us. It motivates us. It actually fuels us. Rather, I'll put it this way, with the thought to just run every time when you people come talk and share your thoughts and ensure that, so nice when people from outside they think about example Praveen Dokania, who is he, the CFO of GSTN. But when he comes and talks in the institute, he talks still as a student only. He gives that love and respect. Not only Praveen, but also when you talk about Naval, they just give him a call saying that I'm leaving all my job and coming quickly. Khatam. That's it. And then when you talk about Manish also has been actually a same person. At least for this experience has been great for me to be here, give his thoughts and share in different manner. Renel, thank you very much. It is basically coming forward to give the thought and perspective of what we are actually trying to do. It makes a whole lot of difference for youngsters to look in that your chartered accountant is working in an AI platform company which is actually providing services to the space. So this is actually the direction in which we are actually moving up. So this is something you motivate many and sort of by the you have been doing your job all throughout. But yes, let me just make two statements very important before I hand over to Umesh. The final conclusion ke liye. I read one statement when I searched on a Google. Google Bhagwan gave me meaning of technology. Very simple, straight. Technology is the application of conceptual knowledge. This is something which we all have to understand. Whatever we spoke is a conceptual knowledge which we have gathered over a period of time as a learning or as a practice. So the conceptual knowledge is not going to waste at any given point in time, whether it is processed by human or it is processed by technology. The knowledge and conceptualization is going to be something, concepts are going to be same. for achieving practical goals. I think each one of us talked about what is the achievement which we will get. If I implement this, this is my outcome. If I implement this, this is my outcome. If I implemented this, this is the risk which is attached. So this discussion which was there is achieving practical goals, especially in repeatedly doing transactions, so that one side, make your life simple, be ready to face newer challenges. This is where the three pillars of digital India has actually come. Just to, for a repetition's sake, let me talk about those three pillars which Government of India has put forward before us. Is develop digital infrastructure, which I think we all have to think from an officer's point of view. As a practicing members, start putting money in technology. 2,000 rupees per month, a chat GPT license is lesser than a cost of an article. That we need to understand. 2,000 rupees per co-pilot license is cheaper than a cost of a peon in the office. Please understand. And more importantly, delivery of service digitally. Today, even your signatures, when you talk about returns which you are filing in GST, they need not be signed by hand. They are digitally signed across. So delivery of services digitally. And finally, digital literacy, which means that you don't have to understand programming, coding, and different kind of languages. It is just understanding right thing at right place. What is useful for me is useful for me. GSTN today, when you talk about, is basically a talk of the entire country, because every individual is actually understanding. When you talk about Naval's organization, it is a different platform altogether, which is primarily from an industrialization. When you talk from Renil's organization, it is talking about a technology which is going into space and feeding data for the public at large. When you talk about Manish's organization, it's primarily talking about use of laptops or other facilities, which is nothing but a resource which is available. Saurabh, you have been giving your knowledge sharing. I think that is also very important. So I think each one of us are playing our bit very positively.
Thank you, Chairman Sir, Daya Sir. And today it was a it is a National Technology Day, and we are celebrating the day. And I hope those who are watching, they will cherish this memory and put all the ideas, all the concept that has been shared to you in your life, and you will make your life more better, more tech savvy, and useful for the human life. So thank you for all, and let me clear that whenever a person learns something, the backgrounds need to be clear, the new concepts need to be learned out. So first of all, thank to Maniji, because I think Maniji is standing from last 2 hours, because he is not sitting, and he has a very good background in his picture, or what we can say, a virtual background. So hats off, Maniji, for being there and sharing the knowledge, and standing there for last 2 hours. I hope, sir, Maniji, you are standing, you are not sitting.
I never sit and work. I stand for 8 hours a day. That's
wow,
I have a standing desk.
That's the commitment. All participants, hats off to Maniji for your knowledge sharing by standing. A standing ovation to you. Then we come down to Renel Roff. Renel Roff ji, you have a very good background. It's a mountain and caves and the way to go through it. So I think it's a digital era, and you have shown how to climb the mountains and how to reach out of the caves if there is a darkness in your life in technological things. So thanks, Renel Rovji, for being there. And
I never thought of that. I know a painting has 1,000 meanings, but you've just put out one more that I've never thought of. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of a creative CA. I am very fond of all these things, and that's why I am vice chairman under the chairmanship of Daya sir, because he could have a better person than me, but he kept me as a vice chairman just because of these small things. Thank you. And now thanks to Dr. Saurabh Maheshwari ji, you have taken the good things in a very focused way and a very educative way, and hats off to your knowledge sharing, because we look after you as one of the best faculties in this technological world, who is giving knowledge to all our members and students. So please continue it, and thanks Saurabh ji for your knowledge sharing.
Thanks for inviting, because I think connecting with the institute is always a privilege, because I always say to my engineer friend that as an engineer, my institute has never thought of me after I passed from it. But the Institute of Chartered Accountant, they always think of their members for upgrading, upskilling them, making sure they are doing something good in the market. Always. So I think being an engineer, it's a bigger privilege to be a part of the CA fraternity.
Yeah, thank you. And that is the energy, that is the objective, and that is the foundation of ICAI, that we are always connected to our members and students by whatever way, and knowledge sharing and skill updating is our prime objective. So then let's move towards the Naval Bajaj. And Naval ji, you have a very good setup in your cabin, and you have given a relaxed and a very precise and very concise discussion. And your name is Naval, it's a new technology, और बजाज, तो मुझे एक वो बजाज के ऐड का ये आता था, बुलंद भारत की बुलंद तस्वीर हमारा बजाज, तो बुलंद ICAI की बुलंद तस्वीर हमारा बजाज. So thank you Bajaj ji for sharing your knowledge. And now the last person and the most important person, because the India is proud of GST. We all CAs are partner in nation building. Even Prime Minister Narendra Modi appreciated the efforts of CAs in implementation of GST, and the person behind it is Praveen Dokania ji. So thank you Praveen ji. We know that there were family commitments to you, but you stayed there for last 2 hours and discussed in length and breadth all the development that are happening in the tax platform GSTN. So hats off to your commitment in technology, and let's connect in future. And every CA day in and day out remembers you whenever he logs in on the GST networks. So you are there to help them out. So thank you, thank to Vishnu, thank to Nidhi, thank to tech team, and thanks to the participants for the today's wonderful discussions. Thank you, Daya sir.
Thank you very much. Just to conclude, I think एक ही point है, वो हो गया बंद.